we are now live. Woohoo!
Hello, JB.
Yo, Shawnee P, aka Mr. Portables himself.
Mr. Black Magic himself.
Explains the shirt, right?
Yeah, I
um,
like chocolate, mate.
Dark and tasty.
After
Woohoo!
8.
Right, so we know why we're both on here, and that's to talk about the latest season of Game of Thrones and the latest episode. And basically, in my opinion, hopefully you agree, the fuck up that has occurred with this season. So, off the bat, let's just talk about the latest episode because I feel we may as well start from there because if people are tuning in, that's what they want to hear. And then we can kind of retract back from there. Even maybe go as far back as season 7 and season 6 and why we think it slumped and was, in my opinion, shit fail. So, yeah, obviously you watched the last episode.
Yeah.
Haven't heard your take on it yet, so fill me in, sunshine. Fill me in.
Um, well, to give you the short version, it was absolute shit. It was. It's quite possibly the worst final episode of a TV show I've ever seen. It failed in absolutely every way. That it's hard to even articulate how bad it was for me. And one thing I don't get is a lot of people are really looking for reasons to like it, which I don't understand. Like, Jon patted the dog, and I'm just like, who gives a fuck? You know?
I was the same. I mean, I was actually thinking to myself, oh, like, he's patting the dog now. Well, he didn't do that before. Like, let's clutch on to anything that's going to make this seem cool. Like, you know, um, I found myself laughing at points in the episode, I'm not going to lie. The army, the Unsullied army, and the Dothraki at the
With
beginning.
the army that was completely wiped out.
Yeah, like she turned up with that with the Unsullied at the gates in the previous episode, the Bells, or the previous episode before that. I've lost track. Um,
Yeah.
and they're like this small little group, and then there's a dragon. And I'm like, well, she isn't going to just take part of her army there, surely, if she's planning to get back her friend who's up on the fucking tower or whatever. And then
Yeah.
in this episode, it opens. She's like bowls it out, and there's just like thousands of Unsullied, and I'm like, where the fuck were they in the Battle of Winterfell for starters? Like, I swear loads of them died, and now they're
How
here.
did they? How did they hear her?
When she was shouting,
Yeah.
must have good. It's like live at Pompeii ceramics, mate, or whatever you call it. You know, surround sound.
Well, yeah.
Um,
I mean, King's Landing was rebuilt really quick. I noticed from total destruction to it was fine.
yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, oh, it was so outrageous. Like the episode, like just the points you're meant to care about, didn't give a fuck about. I mean, a lot of people have said, the Cersei and Jamie scene where they were under the rubble, like, they didn't really feel for it. I felt for that scene because of Peter Dinklage, like Tyrion.
Tyrion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
made that scene.
Exact same.
Like the way they were underneath the rocks and that was laughable. Like when you see the whole fucking roof and that collapse on them in the previous episode, you're like, there's no way they're finding nothing under there. And then he just
Yeah.
like stumbles across this hand and like removes like 4 bricks and they're there. I was like,
They were
okay.
like in just under the top layer of the rubble, as if there was rubble already below them and it landed on them. So technically, they could have survived.
Oh mate, it's just like for me, questioning and people listen to this, maybe they can answer it. Like, what did Game of Thrones even achieve? Like, what changed in that whole show? Like, what was achieved? Like when you look at TV shows and you think, like the Sopranos, like killed people off, and he became like a better, higher ranked mob boss and made more money and
Yeah.
had more for his family. There was his achievement. You got Breaking Bad. He made like loads of meth and provided for his family and had a nice car, nice house, and it kind of went to shit. Um, but there was the achievement there where he ended up killing the characters and kind of getting his revenge, and then the satisfaction of himself dying, obviously, where he kind of started his Breaking Bad. And with this,
Yeah.
I'm left thinking, what did you achieve? Like, Bran turns round and says, like 3 episodes ago, when they want to make him King of Winterfell, I don't want to be king. I'm the three-eyed raven. I'm not Bran anymore. And then
What
suddenly,
they
he's
yeah
king.
they didn't address during the battle of Winterfell why he walked. They never said what he did there. He just rolled his eyes in the back of his head, and we saw these crows disappear. And I guess they were going to King's Landing to check if the seat was warm.
Well, it fucking was after this episode. It was
Well,
toasty,
yeah,
mate.
Bran the Broken. I call him Bran the Boring.
Yeah. I mean, the,
Um,
the guy literally had, like, minimal sentences. The same as, like, Jon Snow's character, like, R plus L equals J, like, what? I don't get it. Like, what was the point in him being revealed as Rhaegar Targaryen, like, or Rhaegar Targaryen's son, or whatever his name? What was the
well,
point?
I've read things people are trying to justify it, saying his whole purpose was just to uh, kill Daenerys, and it's just like you're like trying to fit it into how the story's gone now.
Hmm.
You're forgetting all like the reasons why he was brought back. I think he was brought back to be king.
Yeah,
What bigger purpose did he have? Because he didn't do anything else.
and that's the thing as well that I find is like he was meant to be king, right? Or even brought back to defeat the White Walkers. Like that's what he was led to believe, and then Arya comes in out of fucking thin air with Superman flying abilities to kill the Night King. It was
Yeah,
again like a joke. Um, and then you're thinking, oh, okay, well, John for the throne then, like, and then everyone emphasizes how he's like the best of both worlds. Gonna bring like restore faith to the realm. Have the men. He rallies the men behind him. People follow
yeah.
him, like they want to fight for him, and then they just send him back to the wall. Like his family are there, and they all opt to send him to the wall because they're worried about the war with the Unsullied, whose army was depleted, but yet suddenly is now massive. And the Dothraki were all meant to die, and suddenly they're there in the episode where she's burning the city down. I'm like, did these guys even plan for these episodes to come out this way? Because this is a fucking laughing stock of a show.
Um, well, going back to Jon Snow's arc, I'll compare it to the Lion King. You got Simba, whose father is killed by Scar. Simba's the heir to the throne, the pride. He goes off and grows up, does his stuff, comes back, defeats Scar, becomes the king. And I think, how could a story so simple be so convoluted in Game of Thrones? Because all this subverting your expectations, none of my expectations were subverted. They were just disappointed. And the logic in the last episode was baffling. Um, when they decided to choose Bran as king, they
Yeah.
just like one little speech from Tyrion, and they were like, "Hold up, yeah, he'll be all right as king." You know, the Ironborn woman who had her loyalship to Daenerys was just like, don't worry about it. Grey Worm, who, let's be real, if he was acting like his character, he would have killed Jon Snow like instant gravy as soon as he found Daenerys. Oh no, no, we've locked him up to be killed for some period of time because it was all covered in snow, then it was all sunny. So like 2 weeks.
Yeah, like ashes, you know, and they're all like looking like bearded and haggard, like just
Yeah,
fucked.
it was really confusing. It was a bit like The Dark Knight Rises, where there's that time lapse and it's not really addressed.
Yeah,
You're
like
just expected to know.
Batman just turns up. It's like, how did you
Yeah,
get back? Like, how long did it take you to get back? Like, oh,
yeah.
it's 2 days. Like, what did you fly first class?
Why was Daenerys unguarded by herself? Why did no one give a shit when she was killed and the dragon swooped down and burnt the throne? No one turned up.
Yeah, because I thought people were gonna rush in like as that dragon's burning that throne down and see like Daenerys on the floor dead, you know, and like, everyone's like treason, treason, you know, and then like the North turn up and like kind of on the other side or whatever, and they like stop Jon Snow from being killed, but he still gets captured. I'd have been like, okay, just a little bit more depth. Like, I guess that plot armor, you know, would have had to come into play there. Like, how did the North know where Jon was going to be in the throne room and so on? It would have been better than just, you know, fade to black and fucking woodworm, grey worm, whatever his name is, hasn't
Take
fucking
tapeworm.
yeah, hasn't even killed him. It's just like, how does this make any logic, like any Game of Thrones sense? It needed, for me, the 10 seasons to really fill out these plot points. You know, like
Yeah.
Daenerys just turned mad overnight. I'm like, okay,
I mean, I'll be honest. I think even if the story would have gone the same as it has now, if it was more fleshed out over more seasons, I still think I would have liked it. I don't honestly care that Bram ended up being king because once it's over, it doesn't matter who is king. But the rushed like love plot with Daenerys and Jon, never was convinced of it. Uh, just it just, mate, I can't even put into words. Like, have you seen the rating it's got on IMDb, that episode?
yeah,
It's up below 5 now.
I know it's mad, man. Like people have fed up with fed up with the show. You know, pretty much it's uh, all hate wagons. Even like a hate bandwagon or whatever you want to call it. Everyone's hating it. Even the cast are like a bit ashamed of it. And I definitely agree with you. If they had flushed it out for longer, whatever you want to call it, flushed it out, extended it for longer, like it would have made more sense. Like Cersei, what was the point in her getting pregnant? Like, oh, actually, let's eradicate like because you know in those longer seasons they probably would have had Cersei give birth and like maybe that was the reason Jamie wanted to return. Like you
Yeah,
know because he's like my kid's there, there and dishes off Brienne of whatever her face is ditches her off
yeah,
because Cersei's back in King's Landing with his kid, and he's like, I need to go back there and try and save her and protect her and make her reason. Okay, fair point. You're motivated by your child, and the woman you think you love probably don't. And I'm
yeah.
like, that could have been flushed out, but instead she's pregnant, she gets crushed. It was pointless. Like the whole baby thing was pointless because even Tyrion going, think about your child. Like it didn't matter. She could have been pregnant or not pregnant. It wouldn't have fucking mattered at all. It's like, okay. The only thing I can give credit to for this season is the shots, like the cinematography, the music, like was pretty on point. I mean, that last episode, like I think in my opinion, it looked quality. You know, like the way camera was like panned, that captured the atmosphere quite well. Dragon flying off, like the fire when the throne was burning down, the action shots, you know, the heavy breathing from Jon Snow, like that was all cool. But the story, absolutely fucking fart. And I'd said about this a few weeks ago on my Instagram, and people were just like, "Nah, man, it's a good season." Like Dothraki just got excited because that's what they do, you know, excited and just run into war and that. I'm like, all right, okay. And then it gets even worse because you and I both know you're in a castle, you know, and I'll let you explain this point because I know it's a point you hated like quite a lot. I think is with the army and stuff like that and the castle and shit.
What their tactics?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, like I think anyone with like a brain cell would know you keep your army inside the fort and you defend it as much as you can until they breach, and then you've got enough men inside. You don't stick your army outside and say just charge. Oh, there's an army of undead. They're pretty much unstoppable. Let's just charge at them. You know,
get
does that make
slaughtered
sense?
as well.
It's like, sorry, mate, carry
No,
on.
as well as the trench. They're all standing in front of the trench.
Yeah,
Like,
and they had the trebuchets as well,
yeah,
which they
that's
only
it.
fired once.
Makes sense, right?
Why even have them there? Like, I, it's it's like it was written by someone who has no understanding of war.
Hmm.
It's like it like panders to like the lowest IQ. Like, oh yeah, they just send someone outside and that'll be it. And it's just like, no, like this was the greatest threat in the whole of the land, and yet I don't know whose tactics they were. Maybe it was Bran. Maybe he was like, well, if I send them out there, I'll become king next week. I don't know.
Mate, I agree. I think the issue they've had is, like obviously in books, you've read like the Witcher books, and I think you've read some of the Lord of the Rings books and so on, or like the extended editions of Lord of the Rings. They have that like layer of depth and that like because they didn't have the source material in the books. Obviously, you read it all, and everything kind of makes sense, and they go into that book wise. They go into such a level of depth. Oh, he paid him with this coin and did this and that and whatever, and that
Yeah,
all adds to like this character building in your imagination. And they reflected that really well for like the first 4 or 5 seasons of Game of Thrones. You had
yeah,
this like these characters had layers. They had like personality traits. They had things they did in certain situations, which made you almost think, I can understand this character, relatable.
yeah,
And I understand why Daenerys is the way she is. She's been conflicted because her father was mad or whatever, and she doesn't want to be that way, so she's doing what she's doing because of that. So on, like, and you just have this material, and then kind of 6 was okay. 7 was like time travel central, just flying about all over the place, and we end up with this pile of shit because they've got no material to add that layer of depth to those characters that give them the meaning of why. Like Daenerys, if she had gone mad over like 3 seasons to season 10 or 2 seasons to season 10 or whatever, like it's more believable. Little things like her friend being, like, everyone she loves is being killed off by the enemy, and it turns her. She's like, or she turns up at King's Landing, and everyone's just like, you fucking slag, like being horrible to her and that. She's like, fuck these people. I've tried to free you,
yeah.
You
Yeah, I
just
think the problem with it was it's such a big story with so many characters and so many things that they needed to tie up. You needed more time. You needed more seasons. Uh, the hour and a half episodes didn't do it any favors. I wish the last episode would have been 20 minutes, but um, it's yeah, like the fundamental problem was uh, they run out of source material with the books. They decided to carry on. Apparently, they got notes from Grimm or the old Jewel R. R. Martin. You know, uh, the basics were there, but I genuinely believe it was the writers D&D. You know, Dick and Dummer. They were just like, "Fuck it, we need to get this over and done with." They're more interested in other stuff, and it just shows in the writing. It shows people are like, "Oh, The Sopranos doesn't have the shittest ending anymore," and it's like, well, it didn't really have an ending. It just finished. It was good consistently up until that point, whereas this has been bad at least for the whole of the last season, and the last episode just really cemented the fact that it was a letdown. And like I've always said to you, I wanted to buy the box set when it was over, and now I won't. I don't even want to watch it again from the beginning.
Because you kind of think, what's the point, right?
Yeah, yeah, day later, dollar short now for that show. It feels like I've matched with a really hot girl on Tinder. I've been waiting all week to meet her, and I get there, and she just doesn't turn up, mate.
Yeah, after the talk, you know.
Or it's a man.
Yeah, yeah. I think the man would probably no, actually, yeah, probably. If it was the man, I'd be even more cheesed off. I mean,
Although
go on.
slight flattery because there's still someone waiting for me, so I guess there's no one there. But yeah, it's I don't know. I had a sinking feeling before this season started that it was either going to be really good or really shit, and it didn't. It didn't go in the middle at all, really. Apart from, I still like the battle, cool music, cool visuals. I still kind of appreciated the slaughter of King's Landing because it was just like we don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah,
Um, but other than those two episodes, the rest, the first two episodes, I just think the fuck even went on again.
yawn fest,
Huh?
right? Same as the end of
Yeah,
this episode. Like, was just a yawn fest. I mean, I again, like I touched on I liked like the dragon trying to wake Daenerys up from being dead. Like, it's kind of something an animal would do, I guess. Like, I assume, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But at the same time, like, you can't pave over the cracks, and the cracks are fucking massive. Like, I feel sorry for everyone else, like everyone else that like built like the costumes and the set, like everyone who'd done all that because that was quality. Like the set all
yeah,
being burnt down, all the fucking bodies and that quality, all the artisticness of it, quality, the music quality, and then you just get this like, and again, it proves your point, like what you're saying, that they just wanted it done and gone. Just this lackluster, lazy. Yeah, we'll just make Bran on the front. Yeah, Arya just killed a Night King. You know, like Azor Ahai, like meant to be, I assume, Jon Snow. You know, how Cersei's prophecy, you know, where she was going to lose sons and then be killed by her brother with Ash or something like that. And you're just
mm.
like, this all just blew out the
I
window.
mean, technically that could have been true because when the rubble fell on them, he could have landed on her and killed her.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and then
you
the
know,
ash from the ash that was there for like a week that then suddenly just disappeared. Right, and
I am amazed that they had tons of rubble fall on them, but they didn't have a scratch on them. That
yeah,
was quite cool.
was like a little bit of blood, you know, like on their faces, and that's it really. Nothing,
Yeah,
nothing special, and a bit of dust. And I didn't even like the council bit at the end, you know, where you had Bronn and Tyrion, and Bronn was like, "Oh, we need to pay for some brothels. Like, I'm the master of
yeah,
coin," you know. It's just like again appealing to that low, like, oh, it's like these
yeah.
characters
It
meant
was,
to be intelligent. You're in a high position of authority here. You're the master of
yeah.
coin. Like, we want food. We need food. Can we rely on you for that? We need ships. Can we rely on you for that? Oh well, I don't
What
know. Brothels
what did
first.
they what did they need to get that money for though? Because everyone's dead in King's Landing.
Guess just they brought people back. Night King powers, isn't it?
I mean, if someone said to me, "Oh, would you like to go and live in the capital?" Or by the way, everyone who lived there was burnt to death just 2 days ago. Just about now, I'm alright.
I'm all right, thanks. Cheers. Um, I mean, obviously, Jon Snow didn't get stuck at Night's Watch, did he? Because he's gone off with the wildlings beyond the wall. That wall got built pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. My mate, whoever the architects are in Game of Thrones, I don't know if it's Booker and Best, could be Marshall Tufflicks, but they're grafters, mate. Seriously, because something gets destroyed in there, someone straight there and rebuilds it. You know, even a wall of ice. Oh yeah. However they did that, I don't know.
I mean, that's the point, isn't it? Like, where you can kind of see this show's been rushed because you would have had like scenes of men rebuilding the wall. You know what I mean? Like an episode or whatever, I slowly being built, characters traveling down to King's Landing and so on, and seeing things on the way. There, it basically for me, what I feel like is Game of Thrones felt like this massive kind of unit, like not universe. That's the wrong thing, styles or anything. It felt like this massive place where there was like all these little villages and all these little people, and they kind of went through these villages, met all these different characters. You know, if you don't like
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran, whatever, but he like had his little appearance. You know, she Arya goes and meets the guy that makes the pies, whatever his name is,
Well,
the
the,
chunky.
I'm
Yeah,
in. I'm in the. Just a quick thing. Ed Sheeran. That was probably the best thing he's ever done.
I'm in love with the shape of you. Don't
Yeah.
copyright this video, YouTube. I sang it. um, but yeah, it felt like this big open world place. Do you know what I mean? Loads of little villages and everything like that. And then suddenly it just kind of shrunk to like almost two places, Winterfell and
Yeah.
King's Landing. It was like, and it was like they were next door to each other. You know, like, oh, it's snowy
Yeah. It
here.
had really good world building. Gave you scope, and like it gave you the impression that a lot was at stake. Whereas when it came down to the crunch, it felt like, well, Winterfell, one little castle's at stake, and what else? The Night King only went there, didn't he? Once he got past the wall. Oh, he invaded that little
House,
place.
whatever.
Where,
Yeah.
where yeah, but he didn't really achieve much, so the stakes were never there for me. Like I said, mate, I wish they lost that battle, and then the Night King went to King's Landing, and they all had to group together, fight him. It was like a huge battle, loads of losses, and then wherever after that, that would have been a lot more satisfying because the stakes would have been there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even if you had like that massive battle and the characters all died off, like your Cersei, your Daenerys, and that, and you had the person who ends up sitting on the throne as actually the Remainer. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of like a Jon Snow, like, oh yes, we won the war, like we rallied round. If you want it to be a fucking Tyrion or something like that, like they give some like epic war speech, like as they're basically on their knees to like rally the troops for one last push, and then they
Yeah.
support him because he's a man who can lead. You know, that would have been a more satisfying ending. I don't need to see like the clearly obvious Jon Snow killing Daenerys. Like that was so obvious it was going to happen. Like they just, you know, Tyrion says something to him, blah blah blah, and then he just bowls it up there. They start kissing, and I'm just like, I'm just waiting for that stab noise, and then bam, lo and behold, there it comes. Oh my god, I'm not shocked.
Did it annoy you that Tyrion had to convince Jon that she was bad
Yeah,
after all that? That's not the Jon Snow I knew. He sacrificed whatever he could, even if it was, you know,
himself
yeah,
at the
for
Night's
the
Watch, you
greater
know.
good. And
But
we're supposed to believe that she killed millions of people, and just because he's whipped, he was like, nah.
I don't want it. She's my queen. I don't want it. She's my queen. It was like that was it. I love her. I don't want it. It was like John. There's more layers here. You were raised by the most honourable man in Westeros. Like, you know, you've got morals. Your camera's gone out of sync again, bro. Focus. Yeah, you were raised by like the most honourable man going, and sorted, and then suddenly like burning women and children that you've seen as you walked through,
Yeah,
watching the Lannister army just getting slit up, like they've surrendered,
yeah,
and just still deluded until Tyrion convinces you.
yeah. And what happened? You know, I never remember her name. Is it Arya?
Yeah,
That horse.
yeah. What was the point? She rode out on the white horse, and then like what? What? But she became death. That's what
Yeah,
apparently it means. And yeah, gave no death to anyone in that episode at all.
I
Right.
thought it was like behold a pale horse, here comes death. Like
Mm.
it was a sign that she was the one to kill Daenerys, and she didn't do fuck all. She just spoke. She had to be there to tell Jon that he would never be safe because of his blood. And it's like, well, do you not think he doesn't know that? Clearly, he doesn't. I don't like the way they treated Jon Snow. I feel bad for Kit Harington because I don't think it's his fault. I just don't think he was given enough material. I think he didn't play it well at the end. He was just had that mopey look on his face. There was no like strength. There was no willpower. It was like he was like neutered. You know, he was just like, ugh, ugh.
Do you think
Just like,
part of the like kind of SJW agendas kicking in? Like when I think about it, it's, like he's just this dumb guy in love, like has to be told everything, like spoon fed by everyone else.
probably, yeah,
Like, oh,
probably.
can't have like an intelligent male figure. Like, don't get me wrong, he kills the woman and stuff like that, and has his kind of, and he's like meant to be the powerful king, but it kind of all just gets stripped away from him because oh, we can't have a strong male lead role on the fucking throne to rule. Like, we have to have someone who's non-binary in Bran, who's not even a person. He's a crow or a three-eyed raven. Like, I don't identify as Bran anymore. I'm a three-eyed raven.
Maybe, mate. Maybe it is pandering. It certainly has pandered over the last couple of seasons. Um, it's not Batwoman levels of pandering, but it's there. Like it's underneath. Like you can tell.
Hmm.
Like the writers have seen how culture's going, and they're like, hmm, maybe we should adjust this slightly for the ratings. To avoid the criticism, to not upset anyone.
Which is
And
which the ratings are shit. Which it is.
yeah, which it is. Yeah.
uh,
Um, I'm surprised Jon Snow just didn't throw a milkshake in Daenerys' face.
Seems to be what's going on at the moment. Yeah, in this political crisis that we're in. I just wanted to add one point as well. Point in the sense of, I would have liked, would have twisted everything on its head, as if
Yeah.
Daenerys just ducked John, like
Yeah,
cunning,
or like
like
burnt him with the
cunningness.
dragon.
Yeah, just he bowls it in there, and she just goes, "I know you're coming to kill me." Dracarys just burns him, and you're like, "Oh shit!" And then Arya just kills Daenerys, and you're like, "Oh shit, who's going to be on the throne now?" And then they have their election, and then they elect Bran, which people there didn't even know who the fuck Bran was. They just went, "I." They never even met
Yeah,
him.
brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Tyrion gave the speech, but whatever. A little bit more satisfying, like, and a little bit more twisty turny, like Daenerys has killed Jon. Oh shit, she's going to be on the throne. Oh, Arya's killed Daenerys. Oh shit, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I did when he got voted in as king. I did picture that scene from James Bond where he chucks Blofeld out of the helicopter on the wheelchair down the chimney. And I just imagine the dragon coming to pick him up and ditching him off somewhere.
Gets rid of him. Yeah, I mean the show for me, like, unfortunately, and everyone I've spoke to just openly admitted, like, shit, season 8 was shit.
Yeah.
Um, in the on the hype train, after I watched the Battle of Winterfell, I was fucking buzzed, and I even messaged you like, mate, I think that's the best ever TV show episode I've ever seen, because that was
I felt
like
like that.
how it captured me. And then, you sit back, you think about it, and you're like, how did Jorah get to Daenerys through zombies? Why did they turn into Walking Dead? What the fuck was going on? Right,
How did
okay.
oh yeah, get to the Night King?
Hmm.
That was never explained.
Just flew, mate. Just flew.
I mean, if she could have done that, then why couldn't she have got to Daenerys like instant gravy? I know because she'd been injured again. She'd lost. She'd been degraded a few levels. She needed to collect some more souls and level up.
It's like that Dumb and Dumber, you know, D&D were like saying about Daenerys forgetting about the Iron Fleet, even though she was told about the Iron Fleet literally about 2 minutes before they
Yeah,
they got shot down, you know. And I'm like, you forget about your one of your enemies, like you know they're together with the Lannisters, Cersei, to fight you, and you just conveniently forget, and then you charge towards them with your dragon and do nothing but scream and fly off.
yeah. One point for me, and it's really the only thing I can say about the show now, is I didn't have an emotional reaction to the last episode. I felt nothing, like literally nothing, even when, well, no, that's a lie. I felt bad for Tyrion, but that was just good acting, because I like Tyrion as a character. I still think, even though his character was handled poorly in the last couple of seasons, I still think Peter Dinklage done a good job. You know, he did. But apart from that, I just didn't feel anything. It was the last ever episode of a nearly 10-year series that I've been talking about with you for a long time. And I just didn't care. It was over. I didn't feel anything. After I watched it, I was just like, this was shit, you know?
Take
And I have to compare it to other, because I've watched so many TV shows, and you know, we watched Breaking Bad, and the final episode happened. I don't know if I watched the final one with you,
here to think, yeah.
and it was awesome, and it just felt like a proper ending, and I felt satisfied, and I didn't think to myself, I said I wish there was more, but only because it was so good. But it ended at the right time, and it, like, I felt something, you know. I felt like, oh, it's gone now. Um, I wish it would come back on with Game of Thrones. I feel like I'm glad it's over now, because I don't have to, like, I'm invested in it. I have to watch it even though I'm not enjoying it. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. And that's how shit it's become for me, and it's pretty sad, you know.
So, in short, we can both agree that it was terrible writing and overall Game of Thrones season 8 was a complete flop. Absolutely awful, awful ending.
Yeah. Yeah, two decent enough episodes, but still didn't serve the story in the way it should have. They were purely good just for the visuals, I think, and the cinematography. Uh, Obviously, the battle was a bit dark, but whatever. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't plan on watching it again, because I'm not satisfied with how it's ended. And it feels like all the stuff that went on before it was for nothing,
Well,
you know?
on that depressing note, let's end this bad boy there. You got
Just
anything
to
to say?
say, a plug, if anyone watches this and they want something decent to watch, check out Chernobyl. The third episode's out tomorrow. But if you want something that's emotionally charged and based on real events, like, honestly, it's top stuff. Um, Obviously, based on something that happened, it's all accurate. It's from the book that the guy wrote. Don't know about yourself if you want to check it out, but
Yeah.
so far, no.
Yeah, I'm up for that bad boy. I'll be checking that. I'm waiting for the season to finish because you know what I'm like. I'm on a super binge, you know. I'm like 10 episodes, bam, done, one night.
There's only going to be six, and it's only going to be one season, obviously, because it's Chernobyl. But you should maybe give the first episode a look, see if you actually like it.
Yeah.
Uh, it literally starts with the explosion at the reactor, and then the first responders, the firefighters, go there, who all die because they have no idea what's going on.
Hmm.
But yeah, really good stuff. And I'm gonna check out a series called Barry. Everyone's talking about it.
Okay.
It's about a hitman that goes to LA to enroll in the theatre.
Okay.
I,
That
I know,
sounds fucking strange.
but everyone's saying, it's really good, so I'm gonna check that out. And other than that, people should check out Ray Donovan.
Yeah, and also check out Portables' YouTube channel to see me getting smashed on Mario Kart.
Yeah, I did play Iden on Mario Kart briefly, but I didn't have time to stream it. But I beat him on 4 cups, so
Iden's down in the fucking pits, mate. I don't want to talk about him. You ever see this, Iden? You got me the wrong book. Remember that. But yeah, man, it's been a pleasure chatting. We'll talk off stream anyways. Cheers for coming on, brother. We'll do this again. Maybe we can do like a TV series slash movie once you watched Avengers Endgame episode where we can talk about more TV shows and movie stuff. If people want to hear that as well and hear our opinions on films and all, so like the video if you do. Probably only get one like, but hey, if one person likes it, we'll get more videos out there about films. I think we both talk sense when it comes to films and movies and TV shows and whatever else I can think of gaming most of the time.
yeah,
Apart from
yeah.
you
No,
like
I agree.
like Doc Martin and haven't watched
So,
Paycheck.
Doc Martin,
And you still ain't watched Paycheck, but I can forgive you. Cool. But yeah, cheers for
play
coming on,
Mass
brother.
Effect.
Get Steam.